Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, back to do another About Last Nightmare. This is the series where myself and my friend Nick, the Last Shoegazer, watch a movie together but separate, and usually message back and forth and kind of rip on the film. Sometimes just give fun facts, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, I do part one, which is the facts and figures, and Nick does part two, which is the overall synopsis and our take on the film, and we give it a rating at the end. So definitely check out part two of About Last Nightmare, where Nick is going to take over from here. This week, we had the pleasure of watching The Harvest. Now, this was a first time watch for Nick. I had seen it on, I believe I DVR'd it off of cable, if I'm not mistaken. But I'd seen this before, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a little different than the movies we normally do. Now, horror is usually based on perspective, but I truly think this is a horror film. Um, and I'm sure Nick will get into this, but I think if you have children, um, this is kind of a rough watch. Um, it got me pretty much the second time as bad as it did the first. Now, it's a very clever story. The Harvest, of course, is a 2013 film, which runs 104 minutes, and is directed by John McNaughton. Now, if that sounds familiar, John McNaughton was responsible for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer with Michael Rooker, and probably my favorite serial killer film of all time. He was also responsible for Wild Things with Neve Campbell, Denise Richards, I do believe, and Kevin Bacon, Matt Dillon, whole slew of popular people were in it, and I really enjoyed that. I hadn't really seen the sequels, but I don't know. I enjoyed the first one enough. He also did a Masters of Horror. Um, I believe he did episode one, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but he did Hackle's Tale, which I really enjoyed. And he was also responsible for The Borrower, which I have not yet seen. Now, The Harvest was written by Stephen Lancelotti. When I tried to find out more on him, the only thing I could come up with was he was a part of the crew on Citizen Toxie, which is the Toxic Adventure Part 4. He was the pre-production assistant. Now, this is a IFC Midnight film. It's also a Scream Factory title, which of course has the reversible artwork. This is the other artwork, but I always switch them up since, if you have the slipcase, I just tend to do that. But I'll give you a little background on this. I really enjoyed it when I watched it, and I buy from Hamilton Book every once in a while. They have really, really good deals. Now, I had actually ordered this. It was in one of my updates a couple months ago, maybe, and it was $3 for the Blu-ray, slipcover and everything, which is an extraordinary deal. Now, Nick also, since I kind of turned him on to Hamilton Books, he orders from them as well. He bought this for the same price because I told him, I said, you got to get this. This is a fantastic film, and I think you'll really like it. So he bought it as well. He had mentioned something about how they changed the price. I'm kind of waffling here, but I think this is an important film. It's a extremely well done film. It's not like a lot of movies on Scream Factory. I'm not counting the major titles like Halloween or um, The Fog or anything like that. I'm talking about the independent stuff that they put out. Some of it's hit and miss. Um, I've liked most of it, but there have been a few misses. But this is definitely a gem for the Scream Factory line. And like I said, it's fairly cheap. So yeah, definitely pick this one up, guys. It's a heavy recommendation for me. But like I said, I'm waffling. Um, the cast. It has a pretty stellar cast. The first name, of course, is Samantha Morton, and that she plays the mom. I knew I had seen her before. She just looks so familiar to me. So, of course, in doing research, I realized that she was in a movie that I really liked, a movie called The Messenger with Woody Harrelson and Ben Foster. She played a wife of a an enlisted man who unfortunately passed away. And it was Woody Harrelson's job and Ben Foster's job to give her the news. And she just had such an electrifying performance in that. It just blew me away. A lot can be said the same for this film. She gives an incredible performance. This also stars Michael Shannon. Of course, he was in Man of Steel. One of my favorite psychological horror movies called Bug with Ashley Judd. Um, he was in The Runaways. I believe he played their manager, if I'm not mistaken. He was in a movie I just purchased that I had seen before with Andrew Garfield called 99 Homes, which is it's kind of more of a thriller, but it's a fabulous movie. He usually plays the bad guy. I'm going to kind of let Nick go through, of course, the synopsis of the film, but it was very refreshing to me, his character in this. Now, we have two younger cast members that were main characters. We have Natasha Callis, who plays Marianne. I kind of recognized her from what is she played in? Oh, she played in The Possession with oh, I don't forget this guy's name. It was about a girl and her father who went to a yard sale and purchased this box, and I believe it was from Jewish folklore. I can't remember what the box was called now, but it was a possession story, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I do believe she played the daughter in that, if I'm not mistaken. And we also have, as a young person in the film, Charlie Talon, and he plays Andy. And kid actors are kind of hit and miss usually, but these two kids had incredible chops. I mean, they were just very, very impressive. He was in I Am Legend and a movie that I just watched recently called Burning Bright. That's another recommendation, heavy recommendation. I think it was made my Killer Animals top 20 about a tiger that gets loose in a house and terrorizes a mother and her son. Um, Fabulous movie. The kid's a really good actor. And the most notable character, the most notable actor in the film is Peter Fonda, who plays um, Marianne's grandfather. Of course, he's known for Easy Rider, 3:10 to Yuma. He played Mephisto, I believe, in Ghost Rider. And one of my favorite car chase movies of all time, Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry. He was also in another horror film called Race with the Devil, which I just saw recently. It's pretty good. And that pretty much does it for me for part one. Definitely go check out Nick, The Last Shoegazer. I will put his link in the description box for part two of About Last Nightmare. Um, this movie was a blast. It is a heavy recommendation. I'll let Nick basically tell our rating on this, but this is a heavy recommendation. Um, it's not typical Scream Factory independent stuff. It has some street cred, I would say. But so, like I said, definitely go and check out Nick for part two of About Last Nightmare. I had an awesome time doing this, of course, always with my buddy Nick. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, guys, peace.